Hey, what is up everyone? It is I am the one and only Maxi here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Knight's Journey of Dreams for the Nintendo Wii. So I believe last time we have managed to able to accomplish the final two missions in terms of Crystal Castle, and also we did manage to also tackle through two missions in Junior Forms of Memory Forest. And today for this episode is the fact that we're also able to wrap things up in terms of Memory Forest. And after we're done with these, well, assuming if we're able to get C rank or higher, that means we can obviously manage to able to go to Bellbridge for the second playthrough. But this time around though, we're going to be playing as Helen. So yeah, that seems very obvious standard stuff though, but we'll get into more details about this specific stuff until later, because obviously we're going to be hit on to the third mission right now, for the sake of the Forms of Memory Forest. And if I recall correctly, that it's going to be another one of those link chain reaction missions once again. So at least we should be able to be comfortable with, assuming if I was trying to slow things down a little bit. Well, at least for the most part.
Look! It's Octopop! I know you must be pretty good at flying by now. Come on, let's keep up with this little fellow. I mean, if you can. I'll keep up. Okay, let's do it then.
Okay, the reason why I have to do a jump cut right there, because, oh my lord, this is by far one of the hardest chain the links kind of missions, because obviously you need to be super fast at one point, and also those specific items, most notably with those rings to go through, along with the forms of those blue chips that you're gonna have to constantly be collecting for the sake of Link's combo chain reaction, they just obviously spaced out a little bit, which as a result, this is by far the hardest missions in terms of the Link combo system as far as I'm concerned. But when you get the hang of it though, it might not be so bad after all, but it actually did take me a couple of tries for able to actually do this right. And what if I managed to able to did this mission for the first time in the Forms of Memory Forest, I somehow got the D rank, which as a result, I have to do this off screen for able to actually just to see I've got the D rank, and this means I have to retry the mission. So as a result, yeah, because if you get a D or E, you're probably not going to get the last India. So because of that though, it's a good thing I have to retry this, and then as a result I can't be bothered to showing you my fail montage, because let's face it, it will be kind of boring to see some of these exact same missions over and over and over again, while just trying to able to repeat the process going. So but I digress. A few things I want to explain about for this point today is that obviously today's day is of course the 19th of February today, in this case in 2021. Remember what I mentioned about this before, about the fact that yes, the recent Nintendo Direct, the general Nintendo Direct, has been fully well, announced ever since Junior Forms of on Wednesday. Now I did promise you guys I will mention about the forms of some mentioning about the forms of some exciting stuff that usually that particular Nintendo Direct usually handles us. But even then though, we'll probably talk more about details onto this though whenever we get onto the forms of well, let's just say the next mission, because even then though, as you can see, I finally managed to able to pass the actual well, the requirements to able to get the last India, which as you can see I've got the C rank, so that's good. So, but even then though, it doesn't really matter to me if I can able to get C or higher, because, well, obviously it's mandatory if you really want to see, well, let's just say different endings basically. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the fourth mission now. So in this case we got A, C, C so far. So, well, for the sake of the Forms of Memory Forest so far. So even then though, let's head on to the fourth mission. And as far as whenever I guessed correctly, I think this is going to be another one of those interesting missions, which, well, the interesting mission in the entirety of Helen's playthrough, which, you guys should know what I mean.
Wow, this concert hall is just like the one in my town. You know, I play the violin actually. I'm pretty good at it too.
I always wanted to play on this stage, even just once.
Hoo-hoo! Well, then here's your chance.
What?
Go right ahead. The concert is about to begin.
Are you sure?
Naturally, I'm sure. Of course, this is no ordinary concert hall. You don't play with instruments here. The real concert is conducted by soaring through the sky.
A concert in the sky? That sounds amazing! Knights, we should try it out.
No thanks. I think I'll pass.
I really wish I'd brought my violin. I'm going to perform a recital with my mum, you know. I've been practicing really hard to get ready for it. Well, maybe not as hard as I should.
Shall we?
But...
You said it was your dream to play on the stage, right?
Sure.
Then let's go and make that dream come true.
Knights, thank you.
Okay, so in this mission is the fact that we need to able to touch the notes in the musical score, so that way you would be able to actually just to, well, I would say get some points basically if you manage to hit the actual the musical note straight away. So yeah, you have to keep up with the speed pace, by the way, because if you're too slow, then you're probably not going to get any points. But if you're trying to able to actually just to get in a right timing going for it, then basically you would be able to just, well, just get some points basically, as you can see on screen. So here's the only trickiest part about this mission, is that if you somehow miss the musical note 5 times, well, any kind of musical notes for that matter, basically you got to start all over again for this whole mission. So if I were you, play with the GameCube controller for this mission, because as far as I'm aware, what I've seen certain playthroughs in terms of defaulting using the Wii Remote controller for the sake of this mission, they're all able to have themselves a lot of struggling with this mission due to motion controls. And yeah, as you can see, I missed one note, but that's fine, because even then though, I have to able to decide to keep it up and stuff like that. So and this mission is actually interesting and unique as well, because again, it reminds me of so much of Melody Town from the likes of Kirby's Epic Yarn. And if you manage to hit these notes in a correct timing, those Nightopians actually decide to join in a little bit, which I think is actually pretty cute and harmless. So, but either way though, that's all I can usually try to say about this mission. So, in fact, this particular musical note segment is actually like the exact same thing as you normally did ever since during the forms within the first portion of the first mission in, well, Memory Forest. And this particular mission, its only existence in Helen's dream, because obviously her favorite happiness is of course the music. So because of that though, yeah, she must have really loved music so much. So that's how it goes basically. So either way though, for the most part it's not too bad though, as you can see on screen. But if I were you, trying to play this with the GameCube controller, because that way you can get some pretty good accuracy with the actual control stick and all that stuff. Don't play it with the Wii Remote, by the way, because it will be felt a bit too finicky for you. But luckily I've got the C rank, so in this case I can still able to actually get access to the last India before we able to actually finishing up the well, you know what I mean, Helen's dream playthrough. So even then though, we can expect this much. And of course, we're going to be hitting on to the last mission in terms of the forms of Memory Forest, and that's what appears to be, of course, the boss rematch encounter, which appears to be Queen Bella, which is of course the actual Queen Spider. So, but I digress. It seems that we're actually getting ourselves 3 C ranks in a row for the sake of this particular world. Well, the only mission exception, which is of course the first mission in Memory Forest. And I do apologize if my commentary gets a bit slightly messed up, so, oh well.
You! Come out of there! Stop messing with Helen's memories! We're not going to be scared off by any of your stupid nightmares!
Okay, so we're once again gonna have to kick her butt, and this time around though, she has a lot more platforms to go through. So because of that though, definitely a little bit of a harder variation of this particular fight, which is pretty standard stuff, because we actually getting very close towards the end. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and kick her butt. Okay, sorry for this jump cut right there, because I just have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Although the actual, the boss strategy is pretty much exactly the same, but I swear to god, it just really dragged on a bit. Mainly due to the fact that you have to constantly need to catch this particular spider ball projectile, and then every once in a while we now start to introduce those solid, versions of some of these ball projectiles themselves, and basically you can able to actually just to once again knock these platforms out. And then if you've done that correctly while the Queen Bella was actually standing on the forms of that particular platform, then you were able to let her drop into the lava, and that's all you really have to do. But if you keep on getting hit by the lava, which I somehow managed to demonstrate this after multiple attempts on this particular fight, and unfortunately though, much like the third mission in Memory Forest, I somehow, unfortunately, got the D rank on this fight. It's nothing, it's usually because of how the fact that I usually suck at this fight. It's just the fact that the amount of times I swear I sometimes screwed up by the forms of the judgeable or adjustment of the aiming for that particular projectile in mind. But as a result of that specific stuff though, definitely a little bit of a trickier as a fight. But overall though, it might not be so bad though when you get the hang of it. So but yeah, if you keep on getting touched by the lava, then you lose time. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Ah, jeez Louise, man. But hopefully she's almost down by then. So in this case, since we only just got about 2 platforms left. So but then again though, when you're trying to get the hang of it though, it won't be so bad. But again, for those of you who have a first time experience in a boss fight like this, then sometimes it'll give us a bit of frustration there. So but there we go. At least we did manage to able to bypass the blue bar as well as the green bar, so we can just aim for the orange bar or the pink bar or the yellow bar of the actual timer. So because again, that's the only thing it's usually mandatory if you want to finish the whole game. So there we go, that's Memory Forest.
The green Idia, a symbol of growth, my future, nurtured by my memories.
So yeah, we now got ourselves the green India, which stands for growth. So in this case, that's yeah, that seems pretty self-explanatory. And of course, we were able to get ourselves the last persona, which is of course dragon persona for knights, so that way she can able, or he, whenever, depending if there's any, well, it's kind of hard to say, that way it allows knights to transform into a dragon. So yeah, that seems very obvious standard stuff. In fact, I never actually used that much of those personas that much. I have no idea why, but I'm guessing it's probably because I always attempt to save those during the final frontier, which is of course the wise men, so I guess that makes it pretty obvious for that point. And of course, much like any forms of In-Will's dream playthrough, that basically after when you're done with 15 missions in a row, then you were able to actually get to the staircase, which pretty much leads us to the final level, which is of course Bellbridge. But I'm guessing it might not be like as different as the forms of for the first time around, so why does these loading screens take forever to load in this segment?
Fools, you think to defy a god.
Wiseman!
That's Wiseman?
Your infantile disobedience stops here. Now you will know my wrath.
Wiseman! How could you?
Have you not yet learned to hold your tongue?
Knights!
You leave me no choice but to remove your consciousness and replace it with another.
What?
And you, visitor, Continue your search for your idiot amidst the whirling sea of darkness forever.
No! Helen!
So rather than just standing on the actual, the top portion of the staircase, so we instantly got grabbed and somehow we ended up on Bellbridge instead of like dropping downwards.
I'm sorry, Mom. I think I finally understand. I realize what's most important to me. And I know that there are some things that just cannot be replaced. Mom, please give me the courage to protect what's important.
So in this case, we once again now back onto Bellbridge once again, except now we're going to be taking control of Helen this time around. So aside from the actual character differences, well, as far as the actual stage itself, it's pretty much unchanged compared to the forms of how it does it on the first time around. Which, you know, kind of like the same thing for how it does it in Twin Seeds level from the likes of Knights Into Dreams. That basically you go for the exact same level again, but except you're able to take control of a different character after all. So, and did you know this is actually really easy to get a lot of points in this stage? Assuming if you keep on touching that particular, you know, the star, as you can see. That way you can able to get yourselves a ridiculous amount of points thanks to the forms of the Link combos if you decide to do it well enough. So, yeah, it seems promising enough. So, yeah, so with the Nintendo Direct has been fully announced ever since in Wednesday, as I mentioned this before, basically there are a few announcements they actually did announce with. Of course, the first thing they obviously did show us is the forms of the brand new Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC fighter. And what do we get from the DLC Pack 9? Well, I'm really sorry for Crash fans out there, but it looks like the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 character, which I think her name was, it is actually an interesting choice actually. Although I honestly don't mind the actual character, which her name was Pora, or Pyra, and Minthra. I really do apologize for these mispronunciations with these names, because I wasn't really a big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 still. But regardless of anything else though, is the fact that those two characters will be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC Pack 9. Although most Crash fans might find this a bit disappointing, just because I believe, much like the forms of Firelift, as well as the forms of Min Min, these fighters are Nintendo's IP characters. So sadly we didn't get the third-party supportive characters again, which that's fine because we only got 2 character slots left until the actual Super Smash Bros. Ultimate game is pretty much, well, completed for the most part. So because of that though, yeah, I honestly don't mind that particular character choice, despite I'm not a big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to begin with. But at least it's an alright choice for me though. Not my favorite, but at least it's something is usually be still hyped for. So, and I think she was about to be due out at some point in this March. So, it's a good thing I still managed to pre-order the Fighters Pass for the M2 ever since the very beginning of 2020. So, but I digress. And another thing they actually did revealed is the Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is finally coming to the Nintendo Switch. And I think the release of that game is going to be releasing this summer. So, yeah, expecting to be hyped about it, because I actually did manage to try out the PS4 version before, and overall I actually did really dig into it. I mean, sure, the physics can be a bit weird at times, but regardless of everything else though, I can easily enjoy the game a lot more. So, oh, this scene is slightly different. That's usually Helen always attempts to fall down while she lost her India of any sorts. But luckily for Will, that he managed to save Helen at least. So yeah, that seems something. And yeah, And another game they actually did announce, and I was really looking forward to actually, and that's what appears to be, yes, a new Mario Golf is being confirmed for the Nintendo Switch. Even though it usually calls it Mario Golf Super Rush, like, what is this, like some sort of like a similar name from the likes of Mario Party Star Rush? Well, except rather than just having saying Party or Star, but usually it just gets like Mario Golf Speed or Super Rush, so yeah, that seems a weird name aside, but regardless of such though, I'm actually really looking forward to a new Mario Golf game, because we haven't got a console Mario Golf game since Mario Golf Toadstool Tour back on the GameCube, because obviously we had a lot of handheld installments of Mario Golf since then. Like, we had one for the Game Boy Advance, and another one for the 3DS, even though the Wii U is pretty much going to be skipped over the Mario Golf completely. But thankfully for the Switch, that is now going to be existent, thanks to the forms of that, you know, the recent announcement with, well, Mario Golf Super Rush. So, yeah, that seems very obvious stuff. And, they actually introduced some, plenty of modes. Oh, actually, I'll get into more details about this until, well, let's just say I'll let Sonic mention about the majority of the forms of those, Nintendo Direct announcements for, well, I'll mention some of those are, but either way, though, wow, looks like we got an instant A ranks.
Knights! It's okay. Don't worry about me. Thanks, you two. It's time. Get ready.
Knights, I am dismayed at your continued insolence. If only you had obeyed my will and accepted a new soul, at least your body could have lived on.
Shut up, Wiseman! We're not your puppets! No matter what you think, we can do things on our own. We won't be held back by anyone, because we have free will.
I do have free will.
Fools to the end. That which I have created I can just as easily destroy. So be it. Your fate is now sealed.
Let's go. Helen? Will?
Alright, so now we're going to be taking on the forms of, well, it seems pretty obviously the final boss, Wiseman, once again. But usually the fight itself is pretty much unchanged as well, so don't expect things too much differences about it. So aside from the fact that we were able to actually play as Helen for the sake of time, so, but I digress. So let's see what the actual transformation we're going to be starting off for this time. And it looks like we start things off with Dolphin Knights to start with, so I guess that seems obvious there. And, yeah, and I believe the release date for Mario Golf Super Rush is going to be releasing this summer, which is going to be on the 25th of June. So that'll be the actual summer game I'm really looking forward to. Especially noticeable since we're still in a lockdown at this rate. But even then, though, I can at least manage to enjoy Mario Golf until when that game comes out. Now, I believe the roster might actually did might be slightly similar, although, conveniently enough, much like the forms of Mario Tennis Aces, alongside with the forms of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, Mario and the gang are managed to wear their different outfits, which I will say, it is a very, very impressive step forward in terms of the forms of the presentation of how certain characters managed to able to wear different outfits this time around, as opposed to these traditional overalls like these ever since in the past. Well, at least ever since in Mario Sports Superstars, and also same applies to Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, aka the probably the weakest Mario Tennis game ever made. But either way though, that's as far as how you usually can think about it. So anyway, let's bust out Wise Men for about 3 times. And why is my another Knights didn't come over? Hello? Is anyone gonna help me? I mean, otherwise we're gonna have to finish him off, because otherwise we're able to actually just to see, well, Helen's ending and stuff like that. And whoa! Okay, that's a bit weird. So, in this case, my another Knights didn't make it in time after all, so whoops. But luckily though, we got another plenty of time, so that way we can able to catch him up like so. So, yeah, another game I was really looking forward to at this point in time, and that's what appears to be, yes, the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is now a thing. Which, after countless amount of rumors in the internet, and it looks like that Skyward Sword HD is now finally existence for the Nintendo Switch. And I'm gonna say, I'm very happy about that. For a few reasons mostly. For one, the game will now run at 60 frames per second, which is awesome. And second of all is the fact that instead of able to utilize, or you still need to utilize the motion controls thanks to these Joy-Con controllers. And also to top it off, that we now actually have ourselves these button controllers as well. Although I'll let Sonic will mention more about that specific stuff until Mario Party 3 until tomorrow. So in this case, there goes Wise Men for the second time. So yeah, awesome, swell.
I am the creator of nightmare. Heed my words. As long as darkness exists within the hearts of humans, then I and the nightmares shall never be destroyed.
And yeah, that was pretty much about it in terms of Helen's story. Overall, she did manage to become popular when it comes to the forms of the violin player. Not gonna say, I really love the musical piece whenever they managed to put up that scene. So yeah, pretty awesome and pretty, well, charming as well. So either way though, Helen's story is being completed, and it's a good thing we did manage to able to do not get any single E ranks or D ranks on any missions. So that's pretty good, unless I have to able to retry those every single time whenever I do some bit of tricky and difficult missions, which that might be seems pretty obvious when it comes to like certain things and what have you. But regardless of such though, is the fact that, well, we pretty much sorted in terms of Helen's story from now on. Although mind you that until when it gets to the point until specifically on next Monday and eventually next Wednesday, that basically we might able to actually finish up this game until whenever I decide to do a redo Let's Play of Nights into Dreams for, I would say, I'm also able to play that on the Xbox 360 version, just to improve the quality and all that jazz. And to top it all off though is the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking of Monday actually, we'll probably go ahead and say this right now, that we'll probably hit back onto World Stream first, and then because of the reason why I have to point things out, because, well, I'll mention more about that until when it gets to on Monday for, well, almost getting closer towards the end of February, basically. So, geez, I can't even imagine about the fact that we actually did manage to able to, well, come across into certain days like these, managed to come by very, very fast. So, yeah, that seems kind of obvious. And another thing I want to point things out while the credit sequence is actually still going, although the actual background music you're gonna be hearing, it's basically the exact same theme, like except the fact that it now shows us the Helen's cutscenes, as you can see on that top left corner of this credit sequence there. So oh yeah, another thing I would like to mention, in regards to the forms of, you know, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, I'm gonna say, the actual visuals look much more cleaner and smoother as opposed to the ones in the, although, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword on the Wii, but usually the problem I have with the game is the structure, like you have to go for the exact same areas 3 times, and also you have to fight against with, well, I probably won't gonna spoil things majorly for those who have not played the game yet. Well, it wasn't until that the release date for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is going to be releasing and also during summer, but usually it says 16th of July in 2021. So yeah, I'm very excited about that, especially noticeable I can finally manage to play Skyward Sword on a go, and rather than just trying to able to get another version of the game on the Wii downloadable version, because, well, I honestly don't mind the Wii U version, downloadable version of Skyward Sword, but I honestly kind of prefer playing it on the actual Wii physical copy, as well as the upcoming Nintendo Switch HD ports, because that's my kind of thing, so, but that's just me. And also another thing as well is the fact that according to some of these reports, that The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD might as well have amiibo compatibility, so at least as far as what I've heard about it anyway, so I might be curious to see how there's some amiibo functionality when it comes to Skyward Sword, because after all, usually Twilight Princess HD already has amiibo support, likely due to the Wolf Link amiibo that will allow you to actually access to the Cave of Shadows, some sort of like an optional specific endurance dungeon or something like that. Well, despite the Wind Waker HD does not have amiibo functionality at all, but that reminds me is that I have no idea why that the Wind Waker HD as well as Twilight Princess HD doesn't seem to able to get the Switch port yet. But for what I've heard on some rumors out there, that it might eventually come and during later on throughout this year, because after all, the Legend of Zelda series will obviously become 35 years old for the 35th anniversary at some point. So yeah, that seems totally obvious. So I'm very curious to see what's coming up on the future. So with that being said, yeah, that's what I can honestly try to talk about. I would wish if I would like to discuss more about the forms of some other infos, I'd like to point it out. But of course the credit sequence is almost over. So in this case, yeah, I think we're gonna have to end things off here. So join me next time on Let's Play Knight's Journey of Dreams. Instead, we're gonna be hit back onto Will's dream, and because of that though, we need to take care of this roller coaster rescue mission first to get the CO higher ranking, and hopefully we'll get the last India for him. So I'll see you guys until on Monday. Later, fellas.